So welcome everybody. Today I get the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker. Her name is Sandee Venegas. Sandee graduated magna cum laude way back in her undergraduate work. She holds 3 master's degrees currently, one each in organizational leadership, theology, and education. She is currently working on a 4th master's today. Sandee teaches or has taught college courses in business, consumer behavior, management, and conflict resolution. She's been married for 46 years, the mother of 2 young adult men. And I actually have a couple of stories about Sandee so you can better understand how she accepts change and adapts. When Kyle, her oldest, was in kindergarten or 1st grade, she was called in for a parent-teacher conference and told that they want to hold Kyle back because he has a learning disability. During this conversation, they told her that he's never going to be able to keep up with his classmates. He's never going to be able to go to a 4-year college. Sandee wouldn't have any of that. She immediately made the changes and adapted to make sure Kyle succeeded. Today, he has a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, not to mention he was a straight A student in high school.
Nice.
One of the other big changes I've seen her make is dealing with her youngest son, Keegan. Keep in mind, Sandee is the most determined, controlling person I know, even more than me. I can remember a time when Keegan was 2 or 3 years old and Sandee was having a chat with him in the front yard because he did something wrong or didn't listen to her, as was the norm. This was all new to Sandee when Keegan was born. Her husband, her eldest, they just simply let her control them. Not Keegan. There he is in the front yard, arms crossed, chin up defiantly, standing his ground against his mother at the age of 2 or 3 years old. No question she had to change something to get through to this one, and she did. Sandee is my oldest sister. I consider her a mentor and my moral barometer. She has taught me more in life than any other single person. And for that, Sandee, I thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, little brother. Nice to be with you all today. Great introduction. Thank you. I'm looking forward to interacting with each of you. And our topic today is change. And I do lots of change in my environment where I currently work. I currently work at a private university, and I manage a little over $10 million of money for different departments. So what I do is I go into each department when we're awarded the money from these grants, and I have to implement whatever change this money is going to allow us to implement. For example, my technology department is going to get $2 million. My job is to go into that department and tell them, and when I say tell, I should say work with them to figure out how we're going to utilize that money. Perhaps it's new equipment, perhaps it's more employees, perhaps it's new software. So I go into several departments every day of the week, and we together decide what changes we're going to make to incorporate these monies. This next slide will tell you my goal is to not be met with this kind of attitude. Slide.
Can you guys see mine right now? Not yet?
No.
One second.
There we go. That's me. I'm Sandee. We're talking about change today. And as I make change, this next slide is what I don't want. That is what I'm looking to avoid. I'm not looking for people to be resistant and that's our norm. That is our norm. We resist any change. I feel I mastered change. You can go ahead and go to that next slide.
I had hair.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
It is good.
Wow.
I like the wows. Give me more wows.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This guy.
I'm loving this.
This guy.
I could probably quit right now, Kevin, and I probably won't.
Success.
Yeah. So when I was about 13 years old, I was coming into, that freedom we get as adolescents. I was starting like a little bit of a social life, and my parents were giving me a little freedom, and life was good. I had my plans. And then my parents came to me when I was 13 and told me there was good change coming. That's what that change was. Yeah. I was going to have a baby brother. And I was told I was going to have to start babysitting this little baby and maybe changing my social life. I even had to put his crib in my room.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So when I say I'm qualified to talk about change, I'm telling you right now, my brother is the one that qualified me to talk about change.
yeah.
Anything you want to
Brutal.
say, Kevin?
Brutal.
No, thank you.
Isn't he cute, you guys? He was the cutest kid.
Oh my God, really, Kevin?
I knew that he owned a tie. I knew it. Yeah.
Funny.
That's it.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the head of hair.
Own one.
I mean,
Right?
he got the hair.
He was so cute, you guys.
Yeah.
He was such a good kid. I cried
He
so
was-
hard when I found out my life was going to change, and then he was born, and my life has never been better.
Kevin, I would have never
Show us
pegged
the
you for
cute
a redhead.
pictures. Show us the cute pictures. I'm waiting on those.
Desmond, you didn't think you didn't know he was a redhead, Desmond?
I had no idea he was a redhead.
Oh my goodness.
I wouldn't have pegged that one.
He had the reddest hair.
Awesome.
Love you, baby brother.
Thank you. Love you.
Okay, so putting laughs aside, let's go ahead and go to our next slide. Let's talk about Desmond, can you read that first Socrates statement there for me?
The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new.
So kind of when I think of change, I think it's something that, we've handled in the 20th century, maybe 21st century. But by this alone, we know in ancient of days, this has been something that we as humanity are resistant to. We as humans, we tend to take our energy and fight to hold on to the past rather than building on the new. So today we need to talk about how do we avoid doing that? How do we make sure that we are open-minded enough to go ahead and embrace whatever's coming our way and not be so resistant to maybe what's new? Daniel, I know you're muted. Can you unmute and read to me what Einstein said?
Yeah, the measure of intelligence is the ability to change.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Now, with that said, I want to change this a little bit because kind of it sounds like the only measure, but I think there's lots of measures of intelligence. This is one. And I think more than intelligence, it might even be wisdom. So let's change that. One measure of wisdom is the ability to change. In other words, kind of what it's saying here is the dopey people don't like change. People who are resistant to change don't come off as smart as others. So as business people, as employees, we want to learn how to embrace change that we're considered wise, so that we're kind of listened to a little bit. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we do that? And why do we not do it? So that's kind of our focus today. Next slide. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. My first bullet point there is times change. Reminds me of when I was in high school, quite some time ago. And when I was in math class, they would always say, show your work, do all your work. Let's see what you're doing, because you're not always going to have a calculator with you. Has that changed?
Yeah,
How's that changed?
you can use a calculator now.
Calculator in everybody's pocket now.
Exactly right. We all have calculators, and they're very seldom very far from our fingertips. True?
True.
What are the changes? Well, tell me some other changes such as that. Give me an example.
cars can drive themselves now.
Oh, good one. I didn't think of that one. I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good one. Cars driving.
Nobody thought it would be possible.
Totally, totally good one. Somebody else.
Billionaires can go to the moon.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and at one time that was only government funded. You would never think a personal person could do that. Good one. Astronauts. Another one.
What about you just don't need gas anymore, technically?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. So times change. So we have to move with the times if we're going to stay current and relevant. Businesses change. I specifically thought of like the Uber guys. Remember, they didn't want to pay the private taxi or whatever. So that's these two men were traveling. They're like, we don't want to pay these big prices. That's how we came up with Uber. What other businesses have changed through the years?
Blockbuster.
Yes, that's my key one. I love that one. I always revert to that one.
I knew you were gonna say that.
That was a good one. Another, there's a couple more.
Yeah, you no longer have to go anywhere to meet somebody. Dating apps. Just swipe right.
Dating app.
Oh, okay. Very good. We know what's on your mind. Good. Thank you.
How about this meeting as a Zoom instead of in person?
Yeah.
I'm doing it from Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. You can go to Hawaii and still be considered working. Yes. Good one. Somebody else.
How about the actual virtual tellers? You don't have to go actually up to a person. They're virtual tellers now.
Yes. Awesome. Can you imagine if that hadn't changed? Remember, we were really locked into certain hours at the banks. But now you're right with all that, with the ATMs. Yes. That's a good one. Guys, these are good. Give me a couple more.
You don't even need your credit card or your debit card. You could have it all on your phone now. You're not even locked to a bank. Yeah.
Think of that change. I mean, when I was, many years ago, it was only checks. Everything was checks or cash. That's definitely, can you imagine if we were still doing how much further we've come? One more. Anybody got one more for me?
Computers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Social media.
Yes. Yes. Going back to computers, I remember, gosh, this shows my age, but I remember being in kindergarten.
You're old.
I am. I admit to it. But I remember being in kindergarten and the teacher saying, one day, everybody is going to have a computer in their house. And I thought that was the most ludicrous idea. I'm like, that is so far out there. And I've come to see it in my lifetime. But again, our point is things change. We can't stop it. It's going to happen. So we, as people that are employed, business people, people that want to move up that corporate ladder, we need to learn how to embrace things. To be successful, you need to be able to adapt. And that's just not easy. My last point here is our ability to adapt is considered a strength. And I hope each of you, if that is one of your strengths, I hope you have that on your resume. That's what I look for on resumes. How is this person going to communicate to me that they can adapt? Here, the italics on my slide. These are things that I've got from different resumes. Open and willing to learn new things. They can adapt. Takes on new challenges and makes adjustments. They can adapt. Makes adjustments to suit transitions in the workplace. That's totally what that person is trying to communicate. Change is okay. And I'll tell you right now, as employers, that's what we're looking for. I am looking for a person that is the jobs I do, lots of movement, there's lots of change. I want people that can move with me. Change is inevitable. Next slide.
Michelle, can you mute yourself? Thank you.
Daniel, read that first box for me, please.
Those who embrace change stay relevant.
Yes, we stay relevant. I work with one organization that I feel their people have not stayed relevant. And the reason I know this is because this organization likes to survey their people, but the people at this organization are not really computer literate real well. So you know what happens to those? We don't hear those voices. If you don't stay relevant, eventually your voice is not heard. So you want to stay relevant. How do we stay relevant? We keep an open mind. Now, this is a little hard to explain, so bear with me here. There's kind of like little roads in our brain. There's little roads. If you do something, it makes a little road. You do it again, that road goes deeper. You do it again, that road's deeper and deeper. Our brain is programmed to take those certain roads. Because, and the way you know this is Monday, you go to work, you get up, you go to work. You drive to work. Tuesday, you get up, you drive to work. You do that Wednesday, you do that Thursday, you do that Friday. We drive to work all those days. On Saturday, when we get up to go to the gym, where do we start driving to?
Work.
Work. Have you ever done that? Or have you ever on a Saturday got up and started, thought to yourself, I got to get ready for work? No. Our brain has to make that switch every 6 days. And it's kind of hard. So that is why when we resist change, it's not because we're nasty people. It's because our brain is kind of programmed. So we as adults, we as learners need to really work on making sure that we don't get stuck in any of those roads. Now, with that said, does that mean anytime a new ship goes sailing by, you jump on? Not necessarily. Oh, here's a change, I gotta go. Oh, here's a change, I gotta stay relevant. No. There's a great book, it says getting to yes. We need that analysis stage. So the change is coming, take a deep breath. Everybody take a breath right now, deep breath from your diaphragm. Deep breath. And you process. That deep breath is, I'm going to analyze. I'm going to check out this change. So we don't necessarily have to jump on that wagon, but what we don't want to do is say the immediate no. How many of you had parents that you said, Mom, can I go? No. Mom, before you could even say what you wanted, what was the answer?
Bless your dad.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't want, that's good. Thank you, Rosie. Yeah, they didn't have an open mind. Sometimes I'm like, Mom, I haven't even said what I was going to do yet. She didn't take that breath to take that analysis. And that's what we want to do in the workplace. When someone comes in to make a change, we can cross our arms or we can put our arm down and listen. My goal today is to get you to maybe listen just a little bit longer. So what we're wanting to do is we want to explore strategies and we want to think of options. How can this change be good? Maybe the change is good. Maybe it's not. What my goal is to get you this off. Say, full stop. Full stop. No, we don't. We want to put our hands down. We don't want the full stop. We want to listen. Next slide. So this goes back to that full stop. Dr. Rick Hansen has a book, Hardwiring Happiness. He's a great guy that talks about these roads in our heads. He says we're programmed for the negative. That's just how our mind works. And the successful people are people who have figured that out and don't cave in to that hardwired negativity. Tell me, give me an example of a negative person, a new idea, you're in a meeting, new idea comes in. What are some of the immediate negative comments?
I don't like that.
Good one, yep. Another one?
It won't
It's
work.
not gonna work.
It won't work, that's a classic one. That won't work. Give me another, there's a couple more.
Things
That's
are
too
fine
much
just the way
work.
they are.
That's a good
Somebody
one.
said things are fine the way they are. That's a good one. And another one said too much work. Yep. There's two more I'm looking for.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yes, absolutely. Good one. And there's more.
How long is this going to take?
Wow, that's a good one. Yes. Totally communicates negativity, doesn't it? A couple more are, we've never done it that way before. That's kind of my point. What happens to a room? New idea comes in. Maybe the person's excited with that presentation, and the answer is, it'll never work. What happens to the temperature in that room immediately?
Deflated.
It rises.
Yeah. What was that last comment?
It rises.
Yeah. Temperatures kind of rise, the room gets deflated. All of a sudden it's awkward. So we as learners, we as successful business people want to make sure we're never the one that puts the clap on downing an idea. Again, that doesn't mean we can't question it, but those comments that you gave, we should never respond with those kind of ideas. We've always done it this way. That shows a totally closed mind. We want to be people that we're going to analyze the situation before we make a harsh judgment. Next slide, please. Rusty, can you read the title of that slide for me?
We resist change because we fear loss of control.
Okay, and this, I will gladly admit, this is mine. And my brother alluded to that. We have our territories and we like them. We have our areas where we're comfortable and we like them. We don't want anybody to change that. We like our desk space. We don't want people touching them. We don't want to lose a sense of control for anything that we are doing. And that works a little bit in the home life. It does not work at work life. It works in my home. In my home, I can say, hey guys, I don't like dishes in the sink. Hey guys, I like the beds made before you leave the house. In my home, I can pretty much, my brother likes the word control. I like inspire. I've got lots of different words. I don't normally use control in my home, but if that's what works, that works. When I go to the office, I have to leave that control behind. It just doesn't work. I had this one girl that I worked with her desk was next to mine. She hated anything moved. Please don't move my stapler, she would say. You're a stapler, So it doesn't work. But we've got to figure that out for ourselves. We feel like sometimes we're losing control. If they ask us to go to lunch half hour earlier, we feel like so we've got to identify that and be able to work with that. But by the same token, leaders, if there's leaders in the room, smart leaders leave room for those affected to make change and choices. When I go to my departments and say, okay, we've got $2 million today, we've got to spend it by April 1st, I say, these are my ideas. These are my suggestions. It's their department, so I want to allow them to have it's a symbiotic relationship. So we want to always make sure to cherish that relationship because we don't like to lose control. So employers or leaders need to understand that. And we need to understand sometimes not really losing control. It just feels, my word is crunchy. It feels crunchy inside. It's okay. It's okay. Next slide. Ellie, is that Ellie? Can you tell me the first reason, the first brown box? Why do we resist change?
Fear of unknown or uncertainty.
Yes, thank you. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like the unknown. I don't even like not knowing what I'm getting for Christmas. That kind of goes back to the control my brother was talking about. I don't like fear of the unknown. I don't enjoy vacations a lot of times unless I go the second time because you don't know what to expect. But I've identified that now. Now I know fear of unknown is a little scary to me. It's like my little picture there. I don't want to feel like I'm walking off a cliff blindfolded. I like a sense of safety. And I think for the most part, all of us do. We like feeling safe. And a lot of times change makes us feel unsafe. Therefore, when change is happening or something's coming, that's the analysis. You take a step back, deep breath. I just don't feel safe here. But that's okay. I'm going to listen it out. I'm going to be the professional that I am and figure out why this is bothering me. Leaders, talking to the leaders now. When you're making a change, you gotta have a plan. In other words, I don't go into my meetings and say, okay, I just got $10,000. How do you want to spend it? That's not productive. That's not productive. I go in, hey, we've got $10,000. I've been told we have to spend it by the end of the year. I'm thinking you guys need new equipment. What do you all think? Symbiotic relationship. We're talking together. No one's demanding, and I feel like I'm giving them choices. So both help. Both of those situations help with change. Keeping it clear, leaders, keeping it clear, simple steps, giving timetables. I don't like it when anybody comes to me and says, "Sandee, you've got a report and it was due yesterday." Don't like that at all. You tell me I have 6 days to do it, I'm good. You tell me I have 3 days, I'm good. But sometimes when they come to me and say, I need this in 24 hours, I'm like, but I teach myself, deep breath. Why am I afraid here? What's going on? We got to talk to ourselves. Self-talk is very important. Next slide. Ooh, Rosie.
Yes.
Why do some of us not like change according to this slide?
Decisions imposed on people suddenly with no time to get used to the idea or prepare for the consequences are generally resisted.
Thank you. Surprise! We don't like surprises. And I will be honest, I've not always handled that really well. I walked into, about 4 years ago, I was working at an institution, and I walked in and they're like, my office was sealed off. It was totally boarded up. I walked in with my briefcase and they're like, surprise, we're moving you today. I will be really honest, that was hard to take. I'm like, you know what? A couple days notice would have been fine. But again, deep breath. We don't like surprises. We don't like secrets. Secrets, leaders, secrets are really demoralizing. If we work for somebody that says, oh, we've got some changes coming, I can't tell you about them, but they're big. That's not a positive environment. We make some changes to your workload, and oh, they're happening, and not sure if you're going to like it, but they're coming. Not positive. So all changes need to be as positive possible, implemented, and as professionals, we need to realize everybody's doing their best. So if something surprised on us, walk away. Walk away, do the deep breath. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. Next slide. Ben, why does this slide tell us that we resist change?
Well, because we're creatures of habits. It becomes automatic, and change jolts us, and too many differences can be distracting or confusing.
Exactly. When changes happen routinely, that is really hard. That's really stressful, I feel. You go in and you never know when the shoe is going to drop, but if it happens more than once or twice a day after a week or so, that's very stressful. So we need to identify, there's lots of changes. There's too many changes. Then you need to figure out, what do you do there? Do you need to talk to your leadership team? What do you do? Somehow you have to process, I'm not dealing really well with all these changes. So leaders, talking to the leaders now, we can't make change just for the sake of change. we need to make sure when we implement change, it's a needed, it's a necessary thing. I did work with one guy, but I liked him. He was great. He was just really spontaneous. And he'd come in and he's like, okay, today's staff meeting is at a baseball game. But I knew his heart. That was hard for me. Today, we're going to a park to process what we need to process. And it took me a little while, but eventually it wasn't stressful. But I processed that. He was just this creative guy, and he did not mean to make my world miserable. So I just needed to go along with that, and worked with him for many years. It was a good job, but I had to do that self-talk. Next slide, please. Oh, Anna, can you read this slide? Why are we afraid of change?
Absolutely. Pride. Change is a departure from the past. Those people associated with the last version, the one that's being surprised, are likely to be defensive about it.
Great, thank you. Have you ever seen that when someone comes in to make a change and they're like, oh, no, Anna developed that process and we cannot make that change. Oh, yes. No, Jose has always had us do it that way. That's a little bit of pride. So we've got to get rid of the pride and realize things change. Can you imagine if some of the really big entrepreneurs, say Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, some of these guys, if people had told them no, you can't make change. So change, like we said, is inevitable. And so we can't hang on to the way we've always done it. And yes, sometimes feelings get hurt, but we need to learn that change, it's not a personal attack. And sometimes we view it as such, oh, I've always done it that way, so maybe I was doing it wrong all that time. That's not what change is about. And sometimes we do allow pride to make us resist change and not embrace it. Leaders, speaking to the leaders now, if you're coming in with a change or routine that someone may be creative or with someone's process, we need to be sure and celebrate that person. Oh, Nectar created that. Nectar, you did a great job. Thank you for that. It worked for 3 years, but now we're going to make this change. Sometimes that's easier to accept change when we are honoring the way it was done. So that's really important as leadership, that we come in and we say, oh, you guys have done a great job. This program has worked wonderful for 3 years. We have a new software program we're going to be using, and here's why. So again, that symbiotic relationship, leaders trying to make sure that they understand change is hard for people. And for those learners that are being led to understand this is going to make things better. So what we can do is take that breath and say, how can I improve on that? How can I take that step they're implementing and make it better? How can I take that and show them how it can be done? That's the wagon we want to be on. How can we do this? Ooh, why would this work? Ooh, what problem is this going to resolve? That's where we need to train our mind to routinely go, not to the negative, but to be the open-minded person, like, oh, this might work, but let me ask this question. So a lot of it is in your delivery, and you guys are really good in the delivery. That won't work. We've never done it that way. That's not a good delivery. But, what about this? Or how will we handle this? That's all telling the leaders, like, I'm processing this. I've got some questions, but I've got an open mind. Do you see the difference? There's a difference there. Next slide. I think we're getting towards the end here. Haven't called on Marcos? Marcos, can you read the black box at the bottom?
We resist change because we are concerned about our competence.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but this really speaks to me, which is so silly if I self-talk. But anytime a change comes, especially if they say, hey, Sandee, we've got some new technology, or hey, Sandee, we've got some new reporting, it's like, can I do that? Oh no, am I smart enough? Can I do that? I've been in the workforce 40 years. I've mastered everything they've thrown at me. Why do I always ask myself, can I do that? I'm not sure. Ridiculous, ridiculous. But that's what I need to do. The deep breath, Sandee, come on. It might not be easy. It's harder for me than some of you young people that just get technology so quickly. I normally have to drag those manuals home. I usually have to spend, a couple nights on them. Some of you guys are my sons. I can show my sons, look at this, and they can just manipulate. I can't do that, and that's okay. But I need to make sure, as I'm contemplating this change, I'm not questioning my skills. None of you should question your skills. Where you are justifies you're there. You're smart people. So anytime a change comes, you should automatically tell yourself, I can do this. I can handle this. I can take anything that they throw at me. Number two, we don't like to be felt stupid. I hate being felt stupid. I'm not getting this. And I've done that before. I'm not getting this. I just can't. I tell my husband when I come home, I don't think I can get this. Ridiculous. Deep breath. Of course we can get it. Each one of you, I'm confident, has mastered the computer work you work at, your work where you're at. We don't need to feel stupid. That's, again, just that negative brain pattern. I come across this one a lot in my work, especially when I'm implementing new programs or new equipment. Are you going to even need me to work here anymore? Oh my gosh, this program's doing my job. And my response is, well, I need somebody to run the program. So we can't resist change because we think our skills will be obsolete. Your skills might be used differently. Your job might be morphing into something else. But as a rule, I've never fired anybody with all the money that we've got, with all the changes. I've never had to let someone go because they were obsolete. I've never seen that happen. But as leaders, you just need to know when you're bringing in these changes, you got to provide lots of training, lots of information, lots of support. Because as you're bringing in these changes, these are some of the thoughts that go through our minds. I'm not smart enough to get this. Those are thoughts. And that's why lots of support, lots of written details helps alleviate frustration, sometimes even tears, temper tantrums. So we don't need to be concerned about our competency because we're all skilled people. Next slide. We kind of talked about this one already. Glenn, can you read this one for me?
Change generally means more work, at least initially. Those who are asked to incorporate the new changes are often already overloaded. Change and implementation take time to learn and incorporate. Okay, so somebody earlier, I'm not sure, mentioned this, so kudos to you because you were right on target. I will not deny that sometimes change, or oftentimes change means more work. Sometimes it's just on the front end. I've got one gal that is the auditor for a bank. We introduced some new software for an auditing process. So the bank deemed that she had to run both the old and the new auditing process for a whole year. I'm telling you, she was working around the clock. But there was nothing we could do. She knew that was part of the process. The new software was going to be much better, much more accurate, but we couldn't go there until we knew the old process was outdated. So yes, when someone comes to you and says, here's a change, and you see more work, I don't know what to tell you, except, yeah, that could be the case. And a lot of times, and maybe you'll find this to be true, the people that are asked to do the new work are the busiest people already. Usually they're the sharpest people. Usually they've already done several changes.
But the more you demonstrate that you can handle changes, of course, the more you're going to be the one that's asked to implement changes. I personally find that as a compliment. If someone comes to me and says, Sandee, I need you to learn this and teach everybody, I kind of like that. I get a thrill out of that. And I know, Sandee, you're going to have to work at home a little bit extra hours. I kind of don't mind that. So it just depends on your attitude. I personally like being the initiator, and I like that challenge. And I do realize that it's going to take me time to learn it, to incorporate it, to teach it. All that's going to take extra time. No way around that sometimes. Next slide. Robert, can you read this one for me?
Hold on 1 second. Embracing change implies that you don't see change as adversity, but an opportunity to improve myself or try new things. You need to be positive about your situation, capabilities, and ability to adapt to change.
Thank you. Yeah, and I kind of alluded to this in the last slide. So what we're trying to say today is change is not what? Anybody that's on? Change is not what?
It's not adversity.
Yes.
It's not a problem. It shouldn't be a problem.
Right. One more time. Change is not what?
Adversity.
Adversity.
Good. Thank you. Change is not in adversity. That's what we got to train our brains. This change is not going to hurt me, but we don't do that. That's what we're trying to establish today. One more time. Change is not
Adversity.
Thank you. Change is not adversity, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Change is not adversity, but it's an opportunity. That's hard to grasp. And I don't expect in one lecture that you'll go into your next meeting and say, I love change. But this is just something you can maybe meditate on. Any change. And when I say change, I don't just mean in the workplace. I mean in relationships. I mean in your home. I mean in your families. Change is not an adversity, but it's an opportunity. And we just need to kind of visualize that kind of in our heads. It's not an adversity, it's an opportunity. We're faced with changes in every area of our life. So the sooner and more adaptable we are, not adversity, opportunity. When we can dial into that and embrace that, it's better. Of course, keeping a positive attitude helps that change. If we can be positive, then that change is that much easier. We say it's not an adversity, it's an opportunity, and I guess I could say it's not an adversity, it's an opportunity. That's not going to cut it. So you can be really negative about it, or you can be really positive about it. And what I'm suggesting today is we want a positive attitude. We want to look at that and with a smile on our face say, I can do this. I can do this. Because, if you have kids or if you were a child, when a mama tells a kid to do something, they can go do it, and they can go do it and be happy, or they can go do it and be sad. So that's what we choose as learners. I can go do it with an attitude, or I can go do it and make the best of the situation. And next slide. Okay, I'm going to try to pick on Nectar. Have I picked on you yet? So Nectar, on 10 steps, what's the first box?
Accepting that change is an integral part of life.
Yeah. So it's happening. It's happening. That's not news. This is just we're just going to kind of review right here. Who else? Gigi, I haven't called on you. That third box, what do we need to do?
Be open to new ideas and proposals.
Go back one box for me first, Gigi.
Acknowledge the change. Don't brush things under the rug.
Thank you. So that's not the answer either. Have you ever done that? Are you that kind of person? You like look away, like, I'm just gonna deal with it when it comes. That doesn't work either. I'm gonna pretend that change is not coming. That's not good either. So the sooner we acknowledge, oh yeah, a change is coming. Oh yeah, I need to figure out why it's bothering me. Shove it in under the rug is not gonna resolve anything. Go ahead, Gigi, do the next one again.
Be open to new ideas and proposals.
Yeah, we pretty much covered that. Thank you. Frank, can you read the next one? And then Michael, I'm going to ask you to do the next one.
Be willing to do things differently.
Yes, thank you, Frank. Yes, and I think we pretty much covered that. If there's change, and I can't think of a lot of changes that you guys deal with. The one that I keep going back to is I even have issues sometimes when I ask people to change their lunch hour. They don't like that. When I ask them to change their week schedule, they don't like that. So I try to give them heads up, especially if we have special projects. So be willing to do things a little differently. I'm not asking them to change their life, just maybe this week. So I just need people to be open to that. Michael, next one.
Making suggestions for improvement.
Yes, thank you, Michael. And that's what I said. We alluded to that earlier when we said, when an idea comes or change comes, if we can enhance on that, we are showing that, yeah, we're open to this. Ben, the next one. And then Anna.
I think Ben stepped away from his desk for a second.
Okay, Anna, can you do it?
Yes. Which one was it on my screen? It's very small.
1, 2,
I'm sorry.
3, 4, 5, 6. The seventh one.
Seventh one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't stress out alone. About the impending change.
Yeah. Don't stress. Thank you, Anna. Don't stress. That's easy to say. But that's why I told you deep breaths, isolate yourself, figure out what is going to help you most in processing. Look at the situation optimistically is the box before. All these things are going to allow us to maybe embrace, take in, and digest a little bit better. Michelle, the next one.
Ask yourself, why do I fear this change?
Yeah, that's my favorite one, guys. This is what I do to myself constantly. What do I fear here? Why am I scared here? What's bothering me here? This is like my key box. I should have made it bigger. This is what I do constantly. What don't I like about this? And then I tell myself, you don't think you can learn it. You think it's more work. And just identifying my fear is like a world of good for me. Michelle, go ahead and do the next one.
See the change as an opportunity.
Yeah, we talked about that profusely today. It's an opportunity. It's not an
adversity.
Thank you. You passed the test. Whoever passed the test. Okay, and Ben, you're back. Give me the second to the last box.
Be flexible and embrace change.
Yeah, be flexible. You guys all look really young, but I know when I get out of bed in the morning, I got to move a little bit. I got to bend down. Or my body's not going to work. We got to do the same with our brain. Keep it open, keep it flexible, and keep telling myself, I can do this. Whatever's coming at me, I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to demonstrate it by having positive reflection. I'm going to demonstrate it by seeing how I can improve it. Okay, I think, let's see, one more slide, I think. Last one. No fear. When we embrace change, it reduces and eliminates fears that are attached to the change. Have you ever had fear of something and then gone and done it and then you feel great afterwards? Give me an example of something that you're afraid of. You went and did it and you felt like you conquered it. Give me an example, someone.
Bungee
Marriage.
jumping.
Bungee jumping. I was hoping someone would say that. Did somebody say marriage?
Yes.
I've never had that answer. I'm sharing
These are comedians.
Bungee jumping is definitely one I get a lot. Anybody else?
Skydiving.
Oh, skydiving. That's another one I've had a lot. Did you feel like you'd conquered something big afterwards?
Oh, I did. That was the best feeling I had in my life after that. And then it went away.
Yeah, normally goes away. Somebody else, what thing did you conquer that you felt great about?
Public speaking, giving a presentation like you're doing right now.
Oh, yeah. Public speaking is the number one fear. Yeah. But afterwards, you feel so good. You're like, super person, I got some superpowers. It's kind of the same way when someone comes to you with a change you really don't like, you really don't think it's going to work, but you're going to work with it and try to have a great attitude. Those are the same superpowers you should feel later. I did it. I can do it. Each one of you, your examples, you talked about getting out of your comfort zone. And that is something that we're looking to do. Getting out of our comfort zone. And as you do that, you got more courage. Oh man, I bungee jumped. Now I can do this. Wow, I got married. Now I can do anything. So our courage grows. It's the same way with embracing change. I did this change. I can handle the next one. I did this one. I didn't like it. I didn't want to. It was scary, but I did it and I feel good about myself. We can slowly overcome our fears by embracing change. So my hope for everybody today on our lesson was that we can embrace change. You don't need to fear it and you can do it. I've got some resources at the end. I'm sure Arash can give you these books. These are some of the books I used today for my presentation. And thank you all very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was great.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So welcome. You guys have a great Easter and great weekend, and love you, brother.
Love you, sis.
Kevin, you wanna say a couple words? You wanna wrap it up?
Nope, that's up to you.
Sandee, you were incredible.
And if you mention that name, I'm gonna hurt you.
What name?
Gotta say it now.
Oh, now we want to know it.
So
Sandee,
Arash tells me that he and Yana think you sound like Brene Brown. Okay, I'll say it.
It's a compliment, actually.
Do you know who Brene Brown is?
No.
Oh, Google Brene Brown.
Okay.
It's a huge compliment.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
wow.
gonna love her.
Then why not say it?
Wow, gosh.
'Cause
Arash,
I have to listen to her.
Arash, thank you for inviting me. It's been such fun.
Sandee, you added so much value to our organization. Unlike your brother, we are so.
High five, dude. High five.
Sandee, as we do when someone speaks to our group, we like to honor them by making them a genius maker. So you're an honorary genius maker now. I will be giving you and sending you a Genius Maker's coin for you to always remember helping our group out, and hopefully you can remember each one of us and come back and join us again.